messing around with another man's wife. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Threw my boss out the window and got fired for my last job. Hot wired a city truck and turned it over in the mayor's yard. Beat my brother-in-law half to death. Lost $20 on his football bet. But other than
tell you what, Bob, if it comes down to it, I'll front you out. We will. You want some team dissension?
Sweater over your head.
You want some team dissension? Let's get it.
Lunch so fast.
Now, I'm hearing something on these mics right now. I'm already hearing it. I'm already hearing some feedback on this mic. Is there something that we didn't do on there?
I don't know what you're hearing.
I hear a little cackle. Sounds like Kamala Harris in my headphones.
That's probably just your verklempt throat this
upper
morning.
Lip. Could be my upper lip.
Your cleft palate.
Folks, welcome to the Wade and Carter program alongside my somewhat inept friend. I'm your host.
The more inept.
The less likely to be elected Brent Carter. Welcome to the program. The Wade and Carter weather is brought to you by our dear friends.
Proven once.
At AT Journal. Yes, I can vouch. Some people are unelectable. The Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great friends at AT Journal. And it also shows you the ignorance of the masses.
Well, I'll say this. At least you don't like to wallow in your own suffering and keep
No,
running
no.
for re-election.
No, there's no. I don't have the Omar Rashid complex that just lets me go out there and run and then tell the public you don't like me because I'm pick one, short, foreign, Muslim. You know, he always had an excuse for why nobody liked him. The fact is, some people are. I'm likable. I'm just not electable. Nobody can handle the truth anymore. They don't want somebody to run and tell them this place sucks. I can fix it. They want somebody to look happy and realize that they have no control. 63 degrees in Victoria under mostly clear skies, heading to a high today of 77. Now, Ash and I have looked at all these charts and graphs, and we've decided that this afternoon there's an ever so slight chance of rain, 30%, about 1 o'clock, and then it's going to get breezy as we have what essentially is a small front coming through.
A weak cold front will be coming
very
through our
weak-
area and
A
drop temperatures into the 60s.
It's just like a little
for a day or
Waco
two.
front is coming in. We're excited this morning. We're going to be joined by House District 130. That's the Cypress Tomball area. Very, I just would say it's kind of a white bread, nice part of suburban
It's
Houston.
probably anti-Colony Ridge.
Yeah, and Dr. Tom Oliverson is this will be his third session. I believe. Is this the 87th session that's coming up? I cannot be positive. Commander Cody, what session of the Texas House is coming up? I show that
He's
he
been
was
vice chair of the House Republican Caucus.
best freshman legislator in the 85th session, one of the best legislators in the 86th session.
So if his website's up to date, this would probably be the 87th.
I don't know what he drew there. 89. So he's been there a while.
Yeah.
He's been there a while. Nice
looking family.
Nice looking family there. He's an anesthesiologist by trade. It's always interesting what people do, to pay the bills.
Yeah, because they don't get paid anything at VFC rap.
That's right.
You gotta have something.
But All-American Family, looking forward to visiting with him. I think that's going to be a fun
we'll get into
fun
the whole
segment.
House speaker
Your
stuff.
questions welcome, by the way, in the comments, it'd be hard for you to call, but your comments are welcome with questions for Dr. Oliverson. If you have any thoughts, I'm sure we'll ask him about vouchers. I'm positive we will ask him about his plans for this next session, school funding. What else?
He's been on healthcare reform or healthcare committee.
Yeah. He's on the work comp committee. I'll tell him that's easy. Work comp's easy now. The problems have all been solved. Maybe he helped solve them.
Maybe. Scott Tomko, Greg Garcia, Jordan Glass on the podium this morning.
Judge Posey right there.
Right there.
It's hard for the judge to be
Photo
on the
finish.
podium and the preeminent judge of the quality of the program as well.
Rena Scherer, good morning. Linda Chris, Dottie Bitterly, Lisa Poole, Bobby Leister. It is called a Wednesday day. Reminder to get into Veracruz today. Crystal Map, good morning. Marvin Mickus checking in. Justin Glass. I'm not sure who Console 12 is.
I don't know, but I like it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Get your horns up and good morning. Welcome.
Ricky King, Scott Tomko, Linda Christ, Greg Garcia. See, we sound fine.
Thought I heard
Stephanie
somebody.
Conti, Scott Snow, Wendy Hughes
Buddy
Garcia,
King.
Zed Stewart, Buddy Stavanoa checking in, Micah Patton, Tammy Keeling, David Glass, Tony Bales. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. TB, good morning, my brother.
Glad you're all here. Glad you're with us this
Is
morning.
it foggy this morning out there, Mission Valley area? Torrent, it was a little bit foggy coming in this morning. A little bit so.
So the federal government passes a spending bill that'll fund the government through March 14th.
Thank goodness. Because if it would have,
Well, I would have ruined Christmas
it would
for
have ruined it for me.
what, 12 to 17% of federal employees.
All those people are going to lose their jobs anyway. The government's getting ready to get rid of them anyway.
I'm curious what's in the details of this, because that is one of the things that Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk were concerned about, was that provisions in any sort of continuing resolution or spending bill might cause them to not be able to
Right.
eliminate inefficiencies in the federal government. $100 billion included in this one in disaster relief for areas that were hit hard by hurricanes in North Carolina.
What do we make
But
of that?
I thought we had enough money in FEMA, according to
Well, they gave it to other places. That's the problem.
told, right?
What do we make? They spend it all on housing illegals up in New York.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is just a diversion of federal funds into the hands of other people. Don't kid yourself that it had anything to do with helping people.
$10 billion in economic assistance for farmers apparently was a last-minute negotiation into the package. We're going to visit with Representative Cloud on Friday, so we'll talk with him about much of this. But apparently Speaker Johnson coming under some fire.
What do you make of Biden signing an executive order allowing a bunch of government workers to work from home, effectively trying to get out in front of Trump cutting them loose?
Well, they already do. I think there was a study in the Senate.
Yeah, then only like 6% show up.
96% or 94% of federal employees actually report to an office 5 days a week.
These are people that
And almost half of them only show up 1 day a week to an office. Why do you have an office then?
they have nominal tasks and are basically just on the government dole. That's what it is. They file reports every now and then, harumph, and open their emails from Pete Buttigieg.
And
That's what they do.
And think of the double expenses, because they have an office. I bet you there's a desktop computer in that office,
Oh, yeah.
and they've got a laptop to work from home. Plus, the federal government's probably not forcing them to pay their own internet at home if they're working from home. So the feds are picking up their internet tab at home. Maybe they're even buying their coffee for them. Who knows?
Yeah, there's no telling.
Right? Meanwhile, all those same expenses are being paid for at the office building they don't show up for or to anymore.
The key paragraph is right here. If the measure passes as expected, it will hand Speaker Johnson, incoming Senate Majority Leader John Thune, and President-elect Donald Trump a major funding headache, a test of their governing powers early in 25. Thanks, Dems. Make it as difficult as you can on the way out.
That's what they wanted.
Take all the China, Hillary.
They pushed this off prior to the election because they didn't want it to become a key component in the race. And they knew that if they were going to control the House, they would be able to spend more money in December. And they knew that if they lost control of all three chambers, then it would be problematic for the Republican administration coming in.
And it's got nothing at all to do about governing. It's got nothing at all to do about moving America forward. Certainly nothing about uniting the masses. It's all about how can we throw a wrench into their gears. It's really tragic.
CNN reporting that the bill includes $29 billion for FEMA disaster relief fund, another $2.2 billion for Small Business Administration's disaster loan program, $21 billion in disaster relief for farmers, and $3.5 billion for state and tribal assistance grants to go toward water systems damaged in disasters. HUD will get $12 billion in disaster relief. Federal highway and roads disaster relief totals $8 billion. Where's all the infrastructure money?
Is this all in addition to the money they always get?
This is all over.
This is not just their budget.
No.
We
This
just
is
go
$100 billion extra.
billion here, a billion there. Everybody gets $1 billion.
And now who can be against disaster relief and aid for farmers, right?
For it. Yeah, you've got to be for, and you've got to be for aid for farmers for sure. You've got to. Let's take a quick break, get our guest in here. Commander, you're in charge of that. Folks, very blessed. Busy day, busy couple of days. Went services for all your electrical needs. Went right now is a great time to have Went come in and hook you up with a whole house generator. Easy deal. You go to work, you come home, it works. Nice deal. Call Went today for a quote. RK Development Group. Daniel Rollins can help you build a brand new building, barn dominium, and you can hook up your generator right there at the start. You can have it. There's the great one himself, sauntering into the suite. The VCS companies for all your communication needs. Let the Hartman Communication Empire reach out and help you touch other people. If it communicates in any way, the VCS companies are your home. Brand us. That's what they do. They brand us. Help you with websites, Facebook presence, monetizing different electronic media. Reach out to Cody, our own Commander Cody Bowman. He can do it for you. Atzenoffer and atzenoffer.com. Since 1926, Atzenoffer's been Victoria's dealership. We recommend that you reach out to them for your next vehicle. Go by and see Tommy Taylor.
He's there Monday through Friday.
Help you. I want to jump right to it because we have another guest coming on towards the bottom of the hour. I want to give all the time necessary to our buddy,
our friend,
our man, our main man, Buddy Kamen. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
Tell us what's happening. I've not seen you physically in months.
Well, last time I saw you in Ash, we were celebrating at our house.
That's right. All the elections.
Andy Ladderback. Yeah.
How's your family, sir?
Good.
I know this time of year brings around traditions for you. You've been involved for years and years. Tell folks about that.
Yeah, this is
how can we help?
45 years.
45 years.
45 years.
Started as a wee lad.
I was only right now I'm 22 and 45. That's Biden math, right?
There you go. It's profitable.
Yes. No, 45 years of our giveaway, our Cayman Furniture giveaway. And need help in the worst way, because this is for first responders and military vets. And it has just been so hard last year as well as this year trying to find that officer that in the service or retired. Doesn't matter whether it was Afghanistan or this World War II. When it comes to police officers, whether it be in our community or outside this community, and the same thing with firemen. And gosh, darn, firemen right now need all the help they can get, as well as the police officers. I mean, we are down 17, 18 firemen right now.
Yes, sir.
And we are down probably in the 20s of police officers because of our leadership is so horrible. I'm talking about City Hall leadership. So, anyway,
it's early, buddy. It's early.
Well,
So how can we help? How can our listeners help?
you can tell all of our listeners today, tomorrow, and every day up until the end of the week. Please send their requests to CaymanFurniture.com.
So if they know somebody they think would be a worthy recipient,
Oh, yes, absolutely.
There you go,
You
folks.
know, they cannot talk about themselves or what have you.
yeah, Ash was trying to send an email out, but
I
it
know,
was
I know,
at the
but-
top it says from Ash Walkicha. I could use a new love seat. I mean,
Yeah,
you're like,
well-
Well, I
come
was
on.
nominating you. I figured you
Well,
needed it.
Yeah,
Well, not with that new souped up.
you like that Bronco,
I
don't you?
love
I thought you would like that Bronco. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I look
Could have got a
I'm
new
minority
sofa.
out there with my Jeep.
right.
So, irregardless, we just definitely need input from this community as well as Cuero, Goliad, Edna, Port Lavaca. I mean, I've contacted every sheriff in all of the 7 counties to let us know if they have a vet, they have a fireman, they have a police officer. So it's down to the wire, and it just gets harder to talk to Colonel Mike.
Colonel Mike, yeah.
Colonel Mike last night, and he's always been there for me, and so many others. And he's working on it. So
folks, help out. Send a note
if you
to
know
Cayman-
somebody who you think could use, and they don't have to be living in a house that has no furniture. They just could use an upgrade in what they have.
Yeah, I just think it's such a tremendous.
Kids have
give
worn
back.
out what they've got, and it is a tremendous give back.
You,
They've been doing this for,
you did
45
TV
years.
commercials too. Did you? Was there a Santa suit involved at some point? Because you've done some amazing ad work through and voiceover stuff through the years. It was always inspiring.
well, I thank KVU because they are doing currently a PSA. But we have some amazing sponsors. Just you and Wade have always been there for me. This is not just about furniture. This is about all the other sponsors, whether it be HEB. Through the years, it was always Torn Bells. I mean, just everybody steps up to the plate
Great folks.
when it comes to this group of individuals.
And Callie Frommy just says, "Thank you, buddy. You've always been a great supporter of first responders." And
So if you know a first responder, if you know a veteran who could use a house full of furniture, go to CaymanFurniture.com and nominate them and help Buddy and Bentley and everybody else over there make somebody's Christmas that much brighter.
Yeah, it's a wonderful gift for me because I walk away all these 45 years believing that I have made a difference.
that's awesome.
And so-
I've seen the joy and the tears that have been shed, because when I worked full time in radio, we used to cover these for you and
That's
go out
right.
and
That's right.
live,
That's right.
remote broadcasts. And there wasn't a dry eye anywhere on the property.
And is
ever.
it usually a surprise to the
Yeah, we don't.
recipient?
We
Yeah,
don't.
no, they'd have no clue.
We send out folks from the store guys as a church group bringing cookies just to get an eyeball of what they need and where we need to go with it. But this is not.
That's a
just
whole
for-
nother show, the covert Christian recon. I like it. You never know.
I mean, if you really think
Send
about
the
it,
Baptist in. We'll
Yeah.
figure out what's going
I mean,
on over there.
this was kind of the early front runner to the home makeover shows.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
it
he
really was.
way
It was
ahead of
that sort of surprise, and like I said, there was never a dry eye anywhere on the property when your trucks would show up and just completely restore
Yes.
the faith
yes.
in the people that
Preston
were.
Tucker stumbling through the flower beds.
Yeah,
Barca Lounger in tow.
that's right. That's exactly right. But,
Scott Tomko says he used to work for you, back
this
in high
is
school.
this is food. This is furniture. This is clothing. This is monies.
Judge
this is-
Posey says, "Good morning, Mr. Kamen. Thank you for your generosity for many years and your dedication and support of your community, particularly your support of law enforcement personnel." So absolutely. We say God bless you and thank you for all
Thank
you
you.
do. And what I think between our listener base here, somebody will come up with somebody
Good.
good. Will you come back after the holiday and tell us about it?
Oh, I plan to. I plan
Okay,
to
we'd
tell
love-
you
Awesome.
about that and what Colonel Mike and I are going to be doing.
Awesome.
All right.
Everything going okay for you and your family?
Good. Thank you
Well,
for
we'd love to
asking,
see you, sir.
Merry Christmas to you.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you, brother.
Thank you, buddy.
That's Buddy Kamen. Just seems like he's been here forever, and it's just awesome to have him a tireless supporter of our hospital, of our law enforcement folks, first responders in general, and just super nice man. It's great to have him in the studio.
Yeah. Can't believe it'd be that hard to
45. Well, you would
nominate
think,
somebody.
but it's a tribute to you folks for not just nominating somebody, totally random. And put some thought into it. Go to
or that
CaymanFurniture.com.
doesn't need it.
Right, absolutely. I'd take a recliner. Recliner showed up. Like, me? For me? Put it right there. Yeah.
So many punchlines right now. I
Oh,
just
I
can't.
know.
I can't
I
settle
know.
on one, so I'll settle on none.
Well, it is a very serious moment, actually, but it's very, very nice that Buddy's so thoughtful.
Yeah, no, it's
very
really
giving.
good. Really good.
Good stuff.
And it's his money. He doesn't go spend your money like the federal government.
Right. It's not the government.
No.
The government's here to help.
So police trying to find out how the 15-year-old girl in Wisconsin got the gun.
Yeah.
Also trying to figure out the motive behind the shooting at Abundant Life Christian School, which was left one teacher and another student dead and wounded 6 others.
Look, she's just trying to get her life straightened out. Court records obtained by the Washington Post show that the shooter had a turbulent home life and that she had been enrolled in therapy. I mean, how many teenagers would not describe their home life as turbulent? Daddy won't let me do what I want to do.
Yeah, but how many teenagers actually end up with court records to show how turbulent they're? I'm going to read between the lines a little bit here.
She was a troubled youth.
I'm betting there was some violence in that home. I mean,
Fair.
or some issues, drug use, alcoholism. I mean, the courts don't typically show up
Let's get high and beat
because,
the kid.
You skipped a Lunchable,
Right.
right? I
True
mean,
story.
there's something serious, but also now they're saying that she may have been bullied. And regardless, bullying is no. Tammy Keeling, I think you can go to CaymanFurniture.com to send the nomination.
There you go.
There should be a link there.
Lee Keeling maybe getting a new
A new Barca Lounger.
Tempur-Pedic bed. You never know.
I'll try to find that link and post it.
I'm pretty sure it's CaymanFurniture.com.
It is CaymanFurniture.com, but I'm going to try to find the link itself. Contact us, maybe.
That's it. That'll get you there.
There you go. There is a contact us. I don't see anything on there.
Maybe you just go down and there's a spot for you to reference what you're contacting them about. You just put on there you see right here, phone number, email. Yeah, you just put on there, I'd like to nominate so-and-so for.
Tell a little bit about them.
Yeah,
There you go.
absolutely.
I don't think they have an email, so to speak.
Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, wait. Maybe there was one. Oh, yeah. BK at CaymanFurniture.com.
There
There
you
you
go.
go. There's the email address for you if you want to email them.
BK, as in Buddy Cayman,
Or it could be
at
Bentley Cayman.
CaymanFurniture.com.
Could be
Bentley
either
Cayman.
or, yeah. There
Could
you
be
go.
the Burger King. Yeah. Now,
We'll
see
get,
what you
we'll
did
get
right
Commander
there?
Cody to put
You
that
help
in the
that
comments.
stay top of mind for people. You say Burger King. Oh, yeah, it was BK. They remember that. Yeah.
Linda Chris wonders how many antidepressants she was taking. Yeah, I don't know. We're not gonna,
You gotta
that's-
wonder.
That's pure speculation at this point. But, I can't imagine a teacher at a Christian school bullying anybody. And even if the kid that was killed was a bully, that still doesn't justify what you've done.
I mean, look, there have been bullies around as long as there have been kids around. At the same time, the idea that we're just going to go in here and kill a bunch of people just shows me some mental, no doubt, some mental issues. Who was that?
it's not that buddy again. I don't know.
Oh.
Came back up.
He's probably going to outfit our green room out there with some different
I'm thinking he might be looking for office space.
different furniture.
Oh,
I'll tell you what,
let's
if he needs furniture, you can call Jimmy Zaplak and lease space right here at the offices at 205. It's just great space. You should come see it.
So Ukraine now claiming not only did they get the head of Russia's chemical and biological
Igor
weapon defense
Kirillov.
program,
Kirillov.
but also a general in the Russian army. He was the one that died when that electric scooter blew up.
6:12 a.m. That's local time. Their time. Electric scooter in Moscow. Moscow. How do you say it, comrade?
Yeah, if I had told you, I'd have to kill you.
There you have it. It never gets old, folks. It's the bit that keeps on giving.
Yeah. Apparently, authorities in Kyiv had charged General Kirillov with thousands of cases related to the use of chemical weapons in Ukraine.
He'd been charged in absentia.
Yeah.
So you're not here. We're going to charge you. That way they charged him with war crimes so they could make it legal to kill him. That's what they did. They made it legal.
Basically what the world court has done to our buddy Benjamin Netanyahu.
But just so you know, this Kirillov guy was separately known as the public accuser of the U.S., saying that we had biological weapons programs in Ukraine. Now, be aware of that because we've talked about this before. One reason the U.S. might be so deep into helping Ukraine is, it protects our interests.
Well, the BBC has supposedly researched this and said they've found that there's no evidence of funds from the U.S. going to fund biological weapon research in Ukraine. No, we just funneled it all to a lab in China.
In Wuhan. Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah, Iceman. Justice Wodolski says those darn lithium batteries.
Right.
Might have been all it was. Who knows?
Just
we
blew
know
up.
It's not the case.
Ball bearings.
Yeah. It's all Pfister valves and
that's right.
ball bearings these days.
Get me some 30-weight oil. We'll get this plane back in the air.
This is interesting.
Hey.
Honda and Nissan. Nissan embattled lately, but apparently the two companies in talks to discuss a possible merger.
Oh, come on.
That's like Ford and GM
That's
discussing a merger.
big.
It's huge.
As announced in March, Honda and Nissan are exploring various possibilities for future collaboration, leveraging each other's strengths. Imagine if Nissan had the best transmission and Honda had the best motor, or they each had different electronic capabilities. They could create a joint division.
A collaboration in March is a whole lot different than here we are 9 months later, and now we're talking merger.
Yeah. That's big.
That is huge. Not sure how I feel about that. And apparently Mitsubishi's in some of the talks as well, according to CNN Business.
So they're going to create essentially the Japanese
Mitsuhansen.
Right. It's a travesty. It's a sham. It's a mockery. It's a Travis mockery.
Yeah, I don't know.
Isn't that something?
That is kind of, that's big. Carlos Ghosn, the CEO of Nissan he got charged, I think, or arrested on suspicion of some financial mischief and has left the country. So I don't know. Interesting alliance. I don't know what I make of that. I wonder if if the U.S. government would get involved in regulating or having it to approve such a merger, considering the cars that they sell here.
Could I guess we could affect it by essentially putting a tariff on it, but I don't think we could tell them what to do. Although it would be just like the U.S. to try and tell them what to do. But don't they make some cars here?
Honda does for sure. I'm not 100% sure about Nissan. I believe the Titan truck is.
And where's Toyota in all this conversation?
Sitting back laughing.
Yeah, Toyota. One thing that is amazing.
They don't need them.
Reputation, I think, well earned. You know, if you change the oil in a Toyota, it'll just run forever. It's amazing how you just don't ever hear anybody say, I had a Toyota Tundra. Well, it cost me $1,800 to fix that transmission. You just don't hear it.
No.
Cody Bauman says the engines have been blowing up in some of them. Those are details, mere details. I'm not sure anybody makes a better car than United States automakers can make. I think that some just make a better car than they do make at this time.
Fair enough.
We'll see what happens down the stretch.
I mean, when you really think about it, cars are a whole lot more reliable and better
No
than
doubt.
they've ever been.
No doubt.
Luigi Mangione, the suspected shooter in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, indicted in New York yesterday for murder as an act of terrorism. I think we're getting to the point where some of these charges,
it's all semantics to begin with.
They're stupid. Does it really matter why? I mean, I
He's a
guess
murderer.
why, but he's a murderer.
Alvin Bragg, Manhattan's district attorney, said that Mangione intended to evoke terror with the killing. His actions, the prosecutors added, were intended to intimidate or coerce a civilian population and influence the policies of a unit of government by intimidation or coercion. So they're saying that Mr. Mangione was essentially sending a message to the healthcare industry that you better quit denying, defunding, and whatever.
Yeah.
Deposing and start paying the bills, or you're gonna start dying.
So basically,
it's a stretch.
Here's the problem with this. They're basically saying he's a lobbyist.
Yeah, he's essentially.
He's going to influence the
lobbyist.
policies of a unit of government. Come on, really? You think this guy's actions
Yeah.
were going to change the way the federal government or maybe even the state government of New York deals with healthcare companies? I doubt it.
I'm trying to figure out. We're gonna.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. Can we bring him on?
We can.
There you go. No,
Now, if he must, I think, needs to turn his camera on.
you need to give us something
But
over there to
he's-
get him.
but he's there.
To make him alive.
There we go. I think that
Is he
should do it.
there?
Good morning, Dr. Oliverson. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning, guys.
Hey,
Good
how
morning.
about that?
Look at that.
Right now. So I'll tell you as a quick aside, Doc. And by the way, welcome. We're using you as not a guinea pig, but you're
You're our first.
You're
We've
a
tested
front runner.
this.
We have the ability to split screen and show you to our listeners. Now, if you're there in a terry cloth robe with your hair mussed and you have a cup of coffee, we understand. But I've just seen enough in your bio to figure that you probably have on a red tie at this very moment.
I am actually about to go to the gym, so
we respect that.
I am.
Do you have the ability to video in? And I don't know how.
There
There he
he
is
is.
right
Look at that.
there. Good morning,
Good
sir.
morning, sir. How are you?
Morning. I'm good.
Welcome
How
to the
are y'all?
program.
We're
We're
well,
very
we're well.
blessed and thankful to have you here. Our friend Elliot Griffin, who I'm certain you know through your legislative work yesterday. And by the way, thank you for being so available, because just last night he was like, I've got Dr. Tom Oliverson can come in tomorrow. And we said, bring him. So thank you, sir, for being available. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on today.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you, your reactiveness and willing to come on so quickly.
Sure.
on short notice, because this is an important topic for. And there's several of our listeners that believe that Democrats should chair committees, and it all starts with.
Oh, you're jumping right
I'm
into
right-
that.
right
I was
into
going to
this
ask you if it
thing.
was chest and
Yeah.
tricep day or what he was doing, but okay, you just jump right in there.
Well, he's got to get to the gym. I don't want
True
to keep
story.
him all day. I got to get that workout in. But
Now they're saying, can he turn down his phone a little? There's apparently a little bit of an echo on our end. I don't know if
Okay.
maybe your microphone on the phone might be a little bit loud. We can hear you quite clearly with no echo, but our listeners on Facebook and
How's
YouTube
that?
are responding.
Is that better?
well, I'm sure we'll find out
I
here
bet
in a
it
second.
is.
So,
They're
yeah.
very quick to judge, sir. They're very, very quick to judge.
I'll bring this down a little bit.
Now,
just
what
in
were you going to
case, too.
ask him? Because I know you were like right in.
Well, I
there.
was right into it, and I got sidetracked with the technical side of things. But and I might try and adjust the settings here somewhere real quick.
Just be careful.
I will.
I don't want to lose him over
We'll see
your
if that, no, well,
piddling.
see if that does it. But anyway, there we go. But was it this past Saturday or 2 Saturdays ago? 2 Saturdays ago. I think,
2 Saturdays ago.
We had
our
some
caucus
interesting. I'm trying to come up with the right
chicanery.
Shenanigans, I guess might be the word.
Yeah.
In Austin and in the Republican caucus, and trying to come to an agreement on the next House Speaker. So talk a little bit about how that all played out and what you think might have been behind some of the games that were played.
Yeah, well, I mean, I appreciate the question. So first of all, the bylaws that we followed on that Saturday, on December 7th, were put in place in 2017 by a work group of Republicans in response to a request from our own state party that Republicans really should caucus together ahead of time, their own, and be unified in their support for a Republican nominee for Speaker. And the rationale behind that, of course, was if you go back to Joe Strauss, he was actually elected by all the Democrats and a minority of Republicans. And if that sounds familiar, it should. So that's what the rules were designed to prevent. And it's interesting that one of the two speaker candidates that's currently running, Dustin Burrows, was actually part of the group that put those rules together. And so there's video of him in 2017 saying, hey, you know what, I don't think that Republicans should be going to Democrats getting their support. I think that Republicans should unify together behind a speaker candidate. So that's what the purpose of the meeting was and is. We've had that meeting every time since 2017 when there's been a change of leadership. The biggest difference between this time and any other time where we've used these rules is that this was the first time where we had an incumbent speaker who was incredibly unpopular with his own caucus, who was fighting tooth and nail to hold on to power. And so that's the first time that's ever happened. In 2017, once these rules were put into place, and after Phil King had filed for Speaker, Joe Strauss announced he wouldn't run for re-election. So this is the first time where we've actually had an incumbent using the power of incumbency and the power of the Speaker's office to try to hold on and consolidate that power against the wishes of the majority of the caucus. And as you probably know, Dade Phelan announced he wouldn't run for Speaker 48 hours before the caucus meeting. And so at that point, that particular group of Republicans kind of went into a meeting and a bit of a tailspin and came out and selected Dustin Burrows, who's the chair of calendars, the second most powerful Republican in the House, to be the next man up. So that's the background heading into the meeting. So we followed the procedure exactly as it is described in the bylaws. I had our caucus attorney present throughout the whole proceedings, supervising everything that we were doing, making sure that everything we were doing was, completely above board, and that we were being fair to everyone. We went through 2 votes. The numbers were pretty stagnant. There was one vote that moved from the Cook camp to the Burrows camp, but essentially Cook had the majority throughout the voting process. After the second vote, there was a request for a 10-minute break, and there was some debate about that, some disagreement, I think you have to understand that we're at a point in the caucus, unfortunately, where not everybody trusts everybody. And that's unfortunate, but that is where we are. So it was debated. I tried to put it to a vote. I tried a hand vote. It was close. I couldn't get an accurate count. We were in a small room. People were standing, people were sitting, people were moving around. To me, it was kind of like, back in college when you were in those classes, at least I was, where you had to count the fruit flies, and sometimes they would wake up from their nap and start moving across the petri dish, and you'd lose count. So it was kind of very close and rough like that. So I said, well, we're going to put this to a written vote, a ballot. And at that point, they just got up and walked out. Didn't say where they were going, didn't say why, just said, we're out of here. Tried for hours to get communication reestablished with the 2 groups to figure out if we were going to continue our meeting. and they never came back. And so, per our bylaws, we proceeded with the meeting. The bylaws are clear that once a quorum is established, you keep voting until somebody wins. It's really the only time in our bylaws where the votes are determined based on, the thresholds that people are talking about. There was an op-ed written by one of my colleagues, which contained a lot of inaccuracies. One of them was that our speaker nominee, David Cook, did never exceeded the 60% threshold. In the bylaws, that's based entirely on the number of votes that are cast.
Right. He had the
So
48
that
to
final
12 at one
ballot,
point.
he actually won with 77% of the vote present. It's just that their group walked out and never came back in an attempt to break the process, knowing full well that the bylaws were written in a way to prevent that from actually having any effect on the process itself. So I know that was a long answer, but I just
No,
wanted
No,
can
no.
you hear me there? Can you hear me now?
I can.
Yeah. So, we had, and for us, it's just a data grab. We're trying to get all the information we can. Obviously here, our House District 30 is Sheriff AJ Louderback. And Sheriff completely aligns with everything that you've just detailed for us. We did have Dr. Brad Buckley on from the Salado area last week, and semantics. There's a lot of semantics involved in your political world, and he said, well, the purpose of the caucus was originally to provide ample time for folks to consensus among the leadership. But later on, we find out we've all known that Dade was under fire and that he was probably going to be gone. I think where we get so cut and dried is Ash and I don't agree that the folks that left your meeting should have walked out and gone and lobbied a bunch of Democrats and said, hey, give us your vote, which essentially says we will acquiesce to what you want if you'll help us get in office. It just seems so simple to those of us that don't have to play by your rules. And I think our biggest focus is what's the use of being the party in charge if you turn around and cede power to the people that you just spent 2 years bad-mouthing to get elected?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I lost your audio for a second, so I didn't hear everything that Representative Buckley had said. But, I think it's important to note that the group that's in the minority right now in terms of our caucus, which he is definitely a part of that group, is the pro-Dade Phelan crowd. Dade Phelan did not have the majority support of his own caucus, probably the day after the primary, I would say, is kind of when at that point people said, look, we need a different direction here. And so that group, their modus operandi or their mission in life is they're in power right now and they're willing to go to any lengths to hang on to the power that they have. And the rest of us are calling for change. One of the most frustrating aspects of that Saturday is that you had two candidates coming into that election, one of whom, David Cook, had the clear majority, one of whom, Dustin Burrows, did not. But as folks point out, neither of them had, if everybody had stayed in the room, neither of them would have had enough votes to win on the first ballot. Well, that process is designed to play out indefinitely until we can settle on someone. So what frustrates, I think, a lot of us is the fact that these folks get up, walk out of the room, blame me, blame David Cook, blame the process. And the reality is it was their refusal to participate in the process which actually prevented us from having any opportunity to come together as a group. By definition, them leaving and not coming back stole any opportunity that the group had to find a consensus around any particular candidate.
So they don't like the rules that they put in place 7 years ago. Is basically, the Cliff Notes version of this, correct?
Yeah, I think that is the Cliff Notes version. And so,
How do we-
now the problem is it's my fault, it's the caucus's fault, it's the rules' fault, it's the process's fault, it's everybody else's fault. The reality is that their leadership team is deeply unpopular with their colleagues. And it's not just Dustin Burrows, it's their whole leadership team. And I know that I'm one of the guys that filed for speaker, and I used to be part of that leadership team. And I saw very clearly after the primary that our party, our House caucus needed a different direction, that the voters were rejecting Dade Phelan's leadership, and not just his leadership, but his leadership team. And that we needed a different team. We needed something different. And that's what this whole movement has been about. It's been about something different. And what we've fixated on and what David's fixated on is transparency, it's honesty, it's giving power back to the members, stop concentrating so much power in the speaker, give power back to the members, give the members more of a say. I think you have a really nice contrast actually when you compare the two candidates. Dustin put a list out during the caucus meeting of 76 people that he claimed that were supporting him, and we found out in less than 30 minutes that at least 8 of those had never been consulted or never asked and did not want their name on the list. So his 76 immediately crumbled. It was obviously a fake list. You have him telling the Democrats that he doesn't think it's the speaker's responsibility to decide whether we have Democrat chairs or not. I'm sorry. The speaker's the one who decides who the chairs are.
Well, and I think that's the one area that really rubs.
Decision.
I think that's one area that really kind of rubs Republicans, at least voters, maybe more so than at least the ones I talk to. Why are we putting Democrats who weren't elected as a majority of state government into positions that dictate the direction that we go as a state? They can certainly have input and sit on the committees, but they shouldn't be chairing them. That's my feeling. That's the feeling I have with a lot of Republicans that I talk to. It just doesn't make any sense. And Brent sums it up well. It's like the Longhorns asking the Aggies who their team starting quarterback is going to be before they play each other on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah. I mean, it is a bizarre situation we find ourselves in. It is left over from a previous generation in terms of legislative matters. It is a process that no state other than Alaska and Vermont, best as we can tell, actually uses anymore. Everybody else has moved away from this. And it just creates tremendous turmoil. I mean, something as simple as when you have a chair of an important standing committee that basically goes to a Planned Parenthood rally and accuses the governor and speaker and the lieutenant governor of being Nazis because they want to secure the border. Or when you have a chair of another committee that basically goes out and just totally disparages President Trump because that's what their party wants. And then the reality is you realize the speaker put that person in a position where they could have power, influence, where they could raise about 10 times as much money as the average member and then turn around and spend those dollars to defeat Republicans in general elections. I mean, there's a lot of things about it that stink to high heaven. And the other thing, guys, is that if you talk to the Democrats in our House and our caucus, a lot of them don't even care about this chairmanship thing. What they want to talk about is policy. They are looking to rally behind a speaker that's going to kill school choice. They're looking to rally behind a speaker that's going to meet them halfway on, social issues and things like that. They don't even care about the Democrat chair issue. There's only a handful of them that would ever benefit from that anyway.
So we're visiting with Dr. Tom Oliverson, state rep, House District 30. He's in the Cypress, Northwest Houston area. One thing that came about in my digging after our conversation with Dr. Buckley, he listed an impressive list of Republican and conservative agenda items that were addressed under Dade's leadership and really kind of gave us this all-star list of great legislation that you guys passed. But what wasn't mentioned was the parliamentarian side of things, and the key legislation that was squashed before it ever got a chance to be voted upon. Can you address some of those issues and tell us how the speaker and his ideology can really affect what essentially gets voted upon by the people?
And how will David Cook be different?
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the history of our house, if you go back to, it's only been the last couple of decades where we've had these super powerful, all powerful speakers that essentially hold all the cards. And I would agree with Brad Buckley that I think we have an impressive list of things that we've been able to achieve with the help of the Senate and the governor's office. The House never does this stuff by themselves. And I don't know that policy is necessarily the issue, except, of course, if you're talking about school choice, or, the fact that we spent all summer, last summer, fighting between the House and Senate on issues like border security and property taxes, which should have been layups for a Republican, majority in both chambers. But instead, we were fighting about, who's going to win and all this kind of stuff, right? It became very personal instead of policy oriented, which I think frustrated a lot of us. The issue, I think, in the House before us, and the difference between the two candidates, is that one candidate sees that there are structural problems within the House. You mentioned the parliamentarians. The parliamentarian that we currently have is a former Obama lawyer. Um, I am not a lawyer. I am a doctor. I'm not a dumb guy. I went to medical school. I'd like to think I'm pretty knowledgeable in some policy areas, but I did not get elected to office to fight with some lawyer about ticky tack little things. I will give you just one example. My bill last session banning gender mutilation of our children was stopped on a point of order that was approved by our Democrat parliamentarian because I used the word pediatrician instead of, or I'm sorry, I used the word pediatrics instead of pediatrician, and they said that that was materially misleading. And so then I just took that sentence out because I said, well, since that offends everybody so much, let's just take that sentence out. We put the bill back on the floor, and they said, "Oh, yeah, you took out the wrong sentence. There's no work cited here. You didn't provide a proper citings for your statements that you're making. So we'll have to send it back to calendars again." And so I went from feeling like I was powerless in the courtroom to feeling like I was in a middle school English class. And in both times, we weren't even able to talk about the policy. So these are the things that frustrate a lot of members because it's preventing us from having important policy discussions. And kind of stuff happens all the time.
By the way, Ash and I are I'm speaking for Asher. I think we're staunchly in the camp of being against gender mutilation of our youth. Yeah. So thank you for at least trying that. Yeah, I'll be curious as we go into this next session. We have a really close relationship with Sheriff Louderback, and we're looking forward to really monitoring what happens. And I just want to encourage you, number one, uplift you. I know of your faith, and I'm proud to see that you're in office, and the folks of your area are clearly very intelligent voters. But we would also like to empower you to reach back to this region of the state and help us understand what's going on. Any time that you're like, man, I got to call those clowns at Wade and Carter, I need to tell them what's going on. We would love to have that access and appreciate your availability.
Well, it's a pleasure to be with you today, and thanks for the opportunity. And I'm really looking forward to working with AJ. He's going to be an awesome member. I was telling him it is, in my opinion, very, very important in the House that we embrace people, that have different backgrounds and things like that, because you just don't know what you don't know, right? I mean, I know a lot about healthcare. There's a lot of things I don't know. One of the things I don't know is anything about law enforcement. And we haven't had a lot of representation from the law enforcement community. Um, and we need that. That's a voice that we need, because you think about all the laws that we pass that could have to be enforced by or implemented by, law enforcement officers, and having that perspective is really, really important. So I'm really excited that AJ's part of our house. He's going to be an awesome member, and y'all are really, really well represented.
Well, and we appreciate that. And I'll tell you, you have, folks, if you haven't gone to, you can just Google Dr. Tom Oliverson, and there's a page on him. But he was in the 85th. We're coming up on the, I guess, 89th. Is that right, Commander Cody? 89th session. In the 85th session, he was
Rookie of the year, basically.
Freshman of the year, newcomer of the year. He hit he hit 295 at 27
Hit for the
homers,
cycle twice during the season.
126 RBIs. And then also he was later named one by Texas Monthly, which to me screams liberal rag, but at the same time, Texas Monthly was forced to acknowledge that he was one of the top legislators of the next session. So he hit the ground running. He has remained true to his course. He feels led to do this. And I think we just, we need to celebrate folks like that. Doctor, we won't keep you any longer this morning, but want to give you the last word and also tell you that we wish you and your family the merriest of Christmases, and hope that you have a wonderful session in the spring.
Thanks, guys. And it's it's a pleasure to be with you. I think the last thing I just want to say is that, we really need all Republicans to come together behind David Cook. He has the majority. He is darn near knocking on the door of 2/3 of the entire caucus has signed up to support him. We have some holdouts. They are banking on the fact that your listeners are going to get busy with the holidays and just stop caring about this. And they'll be able to quietly do a deal with the Democrats, take us back to the days of Joe Strauss, and quote, nobody will be the wiser. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think everybody at home is well aware of what's transpiring, that we have a caucus nominee endorsed speaker candidate that the vast majority of Republicans support, and one that's basically an illegitimate candidate at this point. He did not win the caucus. He does not have the caucus's support, and he should concede. And so my hope is that folks will continue to stay engaged in this process and just make it clear that, look, we voted for change back in March. We continue to be advocating for change. We want a Republican run House, and we will accept nothing less. And I know that if we have everybody at home support at our back, that the good guys are going to prevail here.
Okay, Doctor, thank you very much. We really appreciate the time, and we will certainly have you back on soon. And like I said, God bless and Merry Christmas, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. That was Dr. Tom Oliverson. And I'm going to reach out and thank Elliot Griffin for helping us acquire that time with him. I thought he was wonderful, really a great guest. And by the way, like I said, Dr. Brad Buckley is a friend of mine. We don't necessarily agree on everything. And I'm sure if we were around Dr. Oliverson, we might not agree with him on everything either. But we're trying to expose you to as many folks as we can. And I think to a man so far, we've had good people on. They all seem like good folks. Yeah. His resume, if you go look it up, I mean, he's just he's an anesthesiologist by trade. I'm certain
managing partner of the largest anesthesiology group in Texas. So he obviously knows business as well.
He knows what he's doing. Yeah. And good segment, Ash. Good stuff. And thanks. Technically, so when we bring him up, just so you know, there's two screens on our screen. I hope you can see that as well if you're watching on Facebook. The problem is you have to go from, if both microphones, ours and his, are on, where you would just have a casual conversation, then there's an echo.
I don't know why that is. It shouldn't be, but we managed to fix it.
Yeah.
We'll try to get it fixed.
But I don't know, Tammy, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think you've made some solid points today. She says, I'm curious that you're trying, not me, but I'm curious that you're trying to prevent any caucus breakers from running for office as a Republican. It's a big bully pulpit for one party rule. I just don't think, I don't think that, I mean, let me just put it in a simpler term. You've got the Southern Baptist Convention, and you're going to elect a new speaker of the Baptist Church, and over in one part of this deal is a Lutheran or a Catholic, and one of the guys that wants to be speaker of the Baptist Church goes out and visits with a group of Catholics and says, okay, we'll bring in the sacraments. I mean, just help me get elected. We'll put you in charge of the bake sale. Y'all are good at it. If you apply it to anything else, it makes no sense. And I agree that at some point, the Dems may be in charge. They've been in charge before. And if they are, then I think that it's not fair for the Republicans to go, well, remember when we gave y'all. Yeah, they're not going to let any Republicans be committee chairs. Forget that. That's not going to happen. No. So Brian Small says he misses the echo. We're trying.
We're trying, Brian.
There you go. And BJ, thank you. BJ Nelson says that's why we need to ask lots of questions, even if we don't understand it all.
Absolutely.
I agree. That's why we were very, very flattered today to have him on. Thank you. Wish you guys nothing but the best. Get your Christmas shopping done. It's time. We love you. There's a chance. Just tune in tomorrow. There's a chance nobody will be here. But have fun. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
I've been